so lopsided.
Alright, here we go. The Stevonnie, or essentially the rose quartz sword tutorial. To start off, I'm making a template. Decide how thick you want your sword. I made mine about 3 inches, and I curved off one of the ends with a French curve to get that classic shape. Now I'm making a template for the handle. Start off with something round, and then just draw an extended line down the side. Cut a slit in the circle and fold it up to make kind of a cone shape, and you're just gonna have to play around with it until it's about the right size and curvature that you think the handle should be. I finalized the pattern and cut it out in 4mm foam. My foam is just flooring foam I got from Harbor Freight. If you get Eva foam, the back is smooth and you're a lot better off, but this is what I have and this is what I'm gonna work with. So just taking a very sharp razor blade, go ahead and cut out your pattern. Then using contact cement, glue that little notch together to form a cone. Then taking something heat-proof and semi-round, I am using this teapot warmer that is cast iron. You're gonna lay your cone handle thing over it, heat it up, and hold it over the mold until it keeps a more rounded shape. Again, since I was using this horrible flooring foam, I had to Dremel off all the texture from the bottom side, but if you buy actual Eva foam, you won't need to do this. Then again, using contact cement, I glued a piece of PVC pipe into the center of the handle to make the handle? Yeah, you know what I mean. Now for handle details. I don't know what the technical term for a lot of these parts are, so we're just gonna be making things up. Yeah, okay. The disc at the bottom of the handle is made just from a piece of craft foam sandwiched between 2 pieces of Thibra. Now, you don't have to use Thibra, you could use any thermoplastic like Warbler, anything else that I can't think of. I honestly don't really like Thibra. I just don't like it. It's too flopsy, it heats up too fast, it's too sticky, it sticks to everything, but I have a lot of it, so I'm just trying to use it, okay? To decorate this, I just used a piece of Thibra, rolled it out, folded it on itself, and slightly twisted it together to make this twist rope kind of thing. Oh yes, my vocabulary is so good for this video, yeah! Slightly heat up the disc, and when the twist is still warm, go ahead and attach it to the I can't talk. I'm doing this too late at night. I need to go to bed. Heat up the disc slightly, and when the twist is still warm, go ahead and push it onto the outer edge of that circle. I guess I didn't film it, but you're gonna go ahead and glue the handle strap. There's a name for that. What is that called? The handguard part? So your hand doesn't get chopped off when you're fighting with swords, you know? Yeah, you're gonna glue that little thing onto the edge of the PVC pipe and then glue this disc on top of that. Alright, it is at this point in the voiceover that I have educated myself about the parts of a sword handle, and I am from here on out going to be using these terms. So once the hilt is fully constructed, go ahead and prime everything with a few coats of wood glue. And don't forget to sand after each coat dries, do another coat, sand it down, typically do about 3 coats. Alright, and right here you'll notice that there is a hole cut in the hilt for the blade to enter. I did not film me doing this, but I used a circular small handheld grinder. But essentially I just wanted to cut through the PVC a little bit so the blade would stick down into the PVC and make it more stable. Once the hilt is primed, we're gonna go ahead and paint it. I'm using my favorite Rust-Oleum's 2-time spray paint. I have the colors Berry Pink and Satin Magenta. Honestly, I had these from Honey Lemon. I did not pick out these colors specifically for Stevonnie's sword, but I had them and they worked great. So you want to spray the entire handle and the inside of the guard the darker pink. Let that dry completely and then tape it off because you're going to be painting the entire outside of the guard the lighter pink. Now to decorate. So using Thibra again, I rolled out scraps into really thin worms, you know what I mean, and heated them up and then used these for the vines around the handle and the top of the hilt. I made them look very organic, so I double layered some, made them kind of twisty, but you can make them thicker and just like the cartoon if that's the look you're going for. And as you can see, I painted the pommel a light pink and I already started gluing some faux roses into the handle. Looking back, I shouldn't have done this yet because I needed to glue the blade in, but I just got ahead of myself with decorating. Using that same thin Thibra technique, I am decorating the top of the guard. Then taking a small strip of just regular craft foam, I'm cutting it into little triangles to make the thorns. I just glued these on with my favorite super glue and individually, really carefully painted them a light pink. Oh, also you can see that the vines have already been painted a lighter pink than the guard. I did that just by hand with a small paintbrush, just be very, very careful. And then the thorn should be even a lighter pink than the vines. And the top of the guard has this weird leafy cross shape on it. And I should have glued this down first before I did the vines on the top part of the guard. So now you know, do this first and then go back and do the decorative vines. Now we're moving on to making the actual blade of the sword. I am making it out of plexiglass. I just bought a big sheet from Home Depot. I am gonna make the shield and the sword out of this big piece. So if you plan on only making the sword, go ahead and get a smaller piece of plexiglass. So using that template I made in the beginning of the video, you're gonna make 2 drawings of that on the plexiglass. Then to cut those sword shapes out, you're going to want to score both sides of the plexiglass with a razor. Then put something strong and straight against one of the scored edges. Pull the plexiglass gently up and it should snap off. I did the same thing for the curved tip. And you can see that the snap wasn't a clean break. But if this happens, you can easily sand it down. I'm using a big heavy-duty stand-up grinder. You do not need something this intense. You can totally use a handheld Dremel if that's what you have. It's just gonna take a bit more time. Now on to the important part, glitter. So I am personally choosing to use a good variety of glitters to decorate my sword. As always, you can pick and choose how to decorate as you'd like. So to make the blade, I am going to resin together both pieces of the plexiglass. Oh, stop, reminder. These big sheets of plexiglass come with those thin sheets of plastic to protect them. Make sure you peel those pieces of plastic off of the plexiglass that you're going to be resining together. So here I am mixing up a batch of resin. I put in small iridescent white glitter, small iridescent stars, and then this really fine light pink glitter. I also have small pink stars and bigger pink stars, but I'm gonna save those for later. So mix up a batch of resin. As you can see, I have the one sheet of plexiglass set up on little cups so that the resin can drip over the side. I'm just using a throwaway chopstick to spread out the resin to completely cover the plexiglass. Then using that same chopstick, I am placing the larger pink stars one by one into the resin. And I'm only placing this on the back side of the blade, the one that's going to be attached to the hilt. And as for the smaller pink stars, I sprinkled them over the entire length of the blade. Lastly, I took that really fine pink glitter and I sprinkled it over the longer edge of the blade. Because in the cartoon, one side of the sword is darker pink, and where it's supposed to be like sharp, it's a lighter pink. So my idea was to use more glitter to make it look darker on that one edge. Once you're happy with your glitter additions, go ahead and put your other piece of plexiglass on top. Smush it down real well, make sure you don't see any bubbles in the resin, and then I put a piece of wax paper over the top, and then I weighted it down with something really heavy, which just so happens to be my brother's exercise weights. Now resin will be leaking out through the 2 pieces of plexiglass, so make sure you continue to wipe it off as the resin hardens. I didn't do this, as you'll see in the next clip, and I have little bumps of resin and ended up having to grind it off. But if you keep wiping the drips off as the resin is hardening, it will make the next stage pretty much have no cleanup, and that's ideal. So far, it looks great. The clear film is still on one side of the plexiglass, so it kind of has a hazy look. And my glitter didn't come out perfect. It came out kind of splotchy when I had to push the 2 pieces together, but I don't mind it. I still think the glitter was a good effect, especially with the stars down here. So yeah, I had to take my blade back to the grinder and grind off all the excess pieces of dripped hard resin. But after my sword was pretty much perfect, I went on to paint it. I'm using this paint. I got it from Michael's. It's called Tinted, and it is a translucent spray paint. I taped off one edge of the blade where it needs to be lighter, like in the cartoon, and just judge it by eye. Go very lightly in really thin coats until you have a good color of pink. Let that dry completely, and then tape that side off and paint the little strip a lighter pink. And I used the same spray paint, I just did less coats. Lastly, I'm finishing off the blade with a coat of clear glass spray paint. And once your blade is finished, we are ready to attach it to the hilt. So here you can see is where my added details hindered me, like I needed to rip them up in order to glue the blade into place. But here you can see how the blade goes into the PVC handle to give it more stability. And to keep this in place, I literally just poured tons of hot glue on it. I wasn't 100% sure that this was going to be enough to hold it, but I've already taken this to a con and it has held through. And that is it. That is how I made this amazing, glitterific Stevonnie or rose quartz sword. And if you want to know how I made the shield, that will be in a separate tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Yeah, are you gonna do just?
What?
It's
What?
gonna turn out how it turns out.
Wait, what were you gonna say? In my head, it's gonna work like a phone screen. Like, you know when you push it down and all the bubbles come out?
Yeah, theoretically.
Theoretically. That's what I want to happen. Will it? We will find out. Sean, where are your two 20-pound things? These things! I'm gonna put them to use.
Why are they not lined up at the end?
Because well, the first one is supposed to be curved.
Okay.
But then I broke them, so, but I made it too long.
Well,
So I can
I'd
cut
put
it
a
down.
board on top of it and put the weights on top of the board.
Okay. Good thing you have these weights, Sean.
You're welcome.
Ugh. It'll be fine, I hope. So the silicone did not work. It did not dry in between the layers. So I am wiping it off. Some of it I can peel off, but a lot of it is still really wet. So I am starting over. Yes, that's the... Oh! Oh, it's taxes. I thought it was a paycheck. That's a paycheck! Okay. I see it too, but I think it's just because this is all straight. It goes down right here, which I think is giving you the optical illusion of a bump.
Yes.
I can grind it. We can grind it!
Yes.
It is not a lie. A car? I'll get it for you. Can I have that car and I'll trade you that car? There you go. You want to go back? That's not fair. Go play in the dirt. Dirt! Dirt!